Welcome to the Aloha Insight Alert webinar. Just to give you an idea of what we'll be talking about today, we'll talk about an alert message. That message is optional but can be shown when you first log into the website to show that you have alerts waiting. From there we'll move to alert setup and you'll see those 6 bullet points. Those are a tab that needs to be configured to get your alert set up properly. So we'll walk through all those, from subscribers to stores to schedule to messages, and then we'll finish up in the alert viewer where we can go to view our alerts. All right, so that is our layout for today. Fairly short compared to our other webinars, only about 20 or 30 minutes. I'm going to share my desktop with you here and we'll get going. All right, now as you come in, here is that optional message to tell you that you have alerts waiting, and you either have to click yes. If you say yes, then basically what happens, it takes you directly to the alert viewer, or if you want to work a while before you actually manually go into it, you just click no. So I'll click no for the time being here, and we'll later come back into the viewer to take a look at our alerts. All right. Now, as we go over to the left side, everything's under the Aloha Insight header here, and the first thing we look at is alert setup. All right, so as we come here, pretty common box. It would be blank if you don't have any alerts. Any existing alerts that you have, you can go in and edit. You can delete, and again, rather than delete them, again, you can make them inactive, and then if you make them inactive, they drop off your list. And then you can come down here at the bottom to show your inactive alerts if you want to activate them again. All right. If you delete them, it's all the way out of the system and gone. Whereas if you inactivate it, it still hangs in the background to where you can pull it back. We could copy. We do have templates for you. If you'd rather go into templates, you'll see that we've done a half dozen or so here of commonly used ones. So we start off with our deposits, where we can see our over shorts. And again, here's the message that typically if you leave it by default, this is the way it'll show it. But you can see that this alert, which is deposits over short for this store with this ID, is this amount for this date, and this is greater than your threshold of $36. So if you ever want to do your deposits over short, it's already here for you. If we go to key indexes, basically you can see your hourly sales threshold. If you want to go to labor, again, these are all templates. We can see employees approaching overtime, employee overtime, and labor threshold percents. And again, you get an idea of the alert message as an example of what those would look like. If we move down to menu, you can do your item sales. If we go into sales, you can do your check average, your per person average, your sales threshold dollars, and your sales versus projections. And then in the system, if you want, you can leave yourself an alert when you get low on hard drive space, but unsettled credit card batches is a big one here. All right, so those are your thresholds, things that you can fire those directly just by clicking next. We'll go back in this case, but those would save you time of setting up an alert if you want to make use of those templates. The run now allows us, once we create an alert, if it's scheduled or whatever, we can run it now, not have to wait for the alert. Underneath the box, you'll see that it defaults to showing your alerts that you've created, but you could show all alerts in your organization. All right, so either way, but basically you can toggle there, and then we've got again the online help here that will pull up books on the left for insight, and you can drill down into those books, or on the right hand side it defaults to the applet that you're currently on, which in our case is the alert setup wizard. All right, let's go back here and let's go ahead and click add to start creating our alert. Now you'll see the little active box here. We can unflag it, make it inactive, and then a couple weeks down the road turn it on or do whatever if you want to do that. Or you could just leave it active and start creating it here. All right. Now, alert. I'm going to say gross sales over, and I'll say $2 because I want to basically get some information here, fire an alert here within our demo site, and we've got just limited data here. You can determine your alert severity. All right, so you can leave it at none. It'll give you a little exclamation point inside a ball. You can give it a warning, which will give you a yield sign, and you can give it a critical, which will give it a stop sign. All right, so it depends upon what little icon you want to show in Report Viewer to do that. Now, you've got a description field where you can put in anything you want here. This will not show in the alert. All right, so that's set up for your information only. All right, now as we come down here, we have the categories, which is pretty common to Insight, and you pick whatever category that you want to go into. So again, you've got things like key indexes, all right, which show you check out, clock out, check counts, guest counts, sales per hour, those type deals, check close times, just a lot of goodies here. If we go down into labor, you'll see break times and labor dollars, and again the scroll bar always has a lot of line items there for you, so you can pick and choose. The ones with the asterisks are ones that you've created as opposed to stock ones that we have there for you all the time. But again, you can see that we give you a lot of line items to choose for your alert. You can search for what you're looking for. All right, so if I come here with a search and just put in gross sales and basically do a search on that, well, my search didn't pull it in there, so let's well, here's, yeah, because there was none there. Well, yeah, here we have a sales. Let's have a look. So there's my gross sales. There was a voids with voids as percent of gross sales. All right, so basically that search tool will help you identify any of the categories that you're looking for. Now, again, we've got more than one gross sales here. As you can see, we got gross sales by hour, by category, a lot of different ways. If you want to get your categories back, because now we're just limited, you click your little magnifying glass there a second time. Oh, let's cancel that. Well, I think we're broken here. Acting up, all right? But we'll take our gross sales. We'll just highlight it. If you want a definition of it, you can always hit the definition button and see what is considered gross sales by Insight. All right, but that's all we do. We just highlight the one we want, in this case gross sales. We'll save it. Asterisks have not been populated. What did I forget? Oh, okay, so I want to see when it's, in our case here, I want to see when it's greater than $2. Okay, and all I have to do is put a 2 in there because that is a smart field. Insight knows by the line item I've chosen as to what that is. Let's go back here, make sure we got everything. Okay, and then I'll just do it as a warning. Okay, now we've got the general. The next thing we do is we go to content, and again, this is where you have your choice of between or equal to or greater than or less than. In our case here, we wanted to see our gross sales when it was greater than $2. You can select your date range. We give you a wide choice here of date ranges for you to use. So you could pick anything you want, even last so many days or the next so many days. It's your call on that. You could also use a custom date range. All right, we always caution you about that because this end date is a static date. All right, so if I hit the little calendar here, and let's say we want to start it on the 28th and we're going to end it on the 31st, I'll get my gross sales in this case. Starting on the 28th, it'll go through the 31st, but I won't get any new information after that. So that is a static date. You'll have to keep an eye on it, keep putting it back into the future until you get tired of doing that, and then you can just use the selected date range. Now, on the content, you determine whether you want a single alert for all your dates or you want to create a separate alert for each date. All right, now I can have a single alert because I'm doing it on yesterday, but if I put last fiscal year, then I create a separate alert for each of those days for the last fiscal year. We move over to the schedule. If we're going to schedule it, very similar to Report Viewer. You've got all your hours here, basically military time. And you can even do it on the 15 after the hour, 30 after, 45 after. Your time zone is defaulted to what it was set in company setup, excuse me, but you can always change that out here to any Windows time zone. You could run it every 15, 30, or 45 minutes or hours. You can start it at a certain time, end it at a certain time, again, military time. And then basically, you can run it daily. This is every single day, but all 365 days are here, so you could, if you want, pick anything that you want in there. So if every 299 days or whatever, all right? But if I say every single day, again, it's just a 1 in there. And then you have the option here of sending only 1 alert per week when the condition is met. All right, so if I'm doing something like this, let's say an employee approaching overtime, say that individual, we have set that alert for 39 hours, and they get that on Wednesday. Well, when it reaches that, it's going to hit every 15 minutes based upon what we've set on the upper box here. But if I flag this down here, what happens is it notifies us when he hits 39 hours, but it doesn't keep reminding us every 15 minutes because this little flag would have been flagged. All right. So that works out real well with those type instances where you're sending it every 15 minutes or whatever. You can do it weekly. So all 52 weeks potential are here. So you could do it, every 23rd week. And again, it's your choice. I don't have to do it, but Monday, Wednesday, and Friday if I want to do that. All right, so you can pick the days of the week. We can do it monthly. So again, all the days of the month are here, 31 max. So I can do it the 17th, and all the months are here, so of every 5th month. Or flat out do it just the 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th Friday of every 2nd month. Or I can just flat do it the end of the month, the pay period, the week, or the year. So it's my choice as to scheduling this. I'll just set it up for 9 o'clock daily. Down below, we're going to process the alert for this date range starting on this date and either ending on a date or pick no end date. So my gross sales is important enough, I'm going to put no end date on there. Next is the stores that we're going to monitor with this alert. So again, same choices as in Report Viewer. If a manager's in his home store, he can pick home and store and he's done, all right? Or region or area manager could pick theirs and leave it at that. If you've got the right security class, you can pick any store. The way you do that is pick it, and again, it doesn't have to be store. It could be area, region, or store group. But if I pick store, all I have to do is hit the little icon here. It presents me with all my stores that I've loaded into Insight. So if I want to go to my Greek City store, all I have to do is select it, click Next, and now this alert's going to be generated at my Greek City store. All right, but I'm going to put it at all stores, And again, similar to what we saw before, I can create a single alert for all stores or create a separate alert for each store. All right, so in this case, particularly with gross sales, if I'm looking for that gross sales number, I want to see it for every store. If I'm setting this up for all stores, I don't want a single alert for all my stores. I want to know what every store is doing, so I'm going to create a separate alert for each store. Here's the people that are going to be sent the alert. Now, it defaults to you, but you can send it to other people just by changing that radio button and creating a subscriber group. All right. If no subscriber group is created yet, or you need to create one because the ones you've created don't fit the bill, what you can do is come down here to subscribers. And what it does, it gives you a listing of all the subscriber groups that you've created. Or if it's blank, if you're brand new, it'll be blank. You just have to hit the add button. Any of these you can select and edit, delete, or copy it. All right, but we're going to add. And again, I'm just going to put a little asterisk in there. All right, so it goes to the top, and we'll call this webinar. This is our little webinar group. Make sure I get my mouse in there. Okay, so there's our webinar group. If I click next, it presents me with all the users I've loaded into Insight, and I start picking their names off the list. I can pick them individually. If their names are together, I can just hold down my left mouse button and select their names and bring them over. All right, or I can use my control key if they're spread out. So I can select one, hold my control key, and select the names like that and bring them over. But whatever you do, make sure you go down and find your name, because you've taken it off of your name and said you're going to send it to other users. So basically, you make sure to get your own name selected and bring it into that group. All right, so now I've got my subscriber group created. Again, down here, I'm going to save it. I'll bring this scroll bar down here so you can see it. We're going to save it. We'll get a confirmation of how many users are in our group. So we now have 16 users. All right, now, once we've created it, we can see our webinar group there, but we close it down with the little X in the upper right-hand corner here. So we'll close it. Now, that's the first part. The second step is to adjust the subscriber group to show the one that you've created. And now you can see our little demo site here is not functioning properly here either, because it doesn't bring across our webinar group. So I'll just choose that demo group. And what happens with that demo group, you'll see that it'll list a listing of all the people in your group so you can see them, which is really nice. And then again, this little flag back here, base stores monitor on subscriber security, means that if we've set the system up properly, when we created a user, if that user is a store manager or a region manager or an area manager, we've told them on their user setup that it's for the store manager, it's his home store; for the region manager, it's his home region; for the area manager, it's home region. And then use the security rule to say they can only view their home store, home area, or home region. And now that limits it in to what we're doing here. I'm sending this alert to all stores, but I don't want my gal that works in my San Francisco store to see everybody's alerts. And so what happens here with that little flag flagged, even though this is going out to all stores, when it gets to her store, she only sees the San Francisco information and nobody else's. All right, so those are the people that now are subscribing to my alert. And the final thing here is a message. So we can send an alert message to your email address. All right, and again, it depends upon your subscribers. On their user setup, you can put their email addresses in there, so we can actually send that to an email address. We can send alert message to the Aloha Insight viewer. Okay, so definitely that's you want, if you're going to use the viewer, you want them to be sent there, and so you make sure that's flagged. Now this is the optional flag for that message we saw when we first logged in that told us we had alerts waiting. So notify subscriber of alerts at the login to Insight. So if you want that message, you'll flag it. If you don't want it, you'll unflag it. And then you determine how long, if you're sending them to the alert viewer, how long you want to keep those in there. So, I've got 30 days. That may be a little long because you're typically taking care of your alerts as they come in. So you may want a week or 5 days or something like that. Now, we also let you configure your message. So we saw the long message when we talked about the templates. All right, so we have the comps for this store, this ID is this amount for this date, and this is greater than your predefined amount of this amount. All right, because as we come down here, basically what we can do is change that to a short message if you want. All right, so if we go to a short message, you'll see that it's a little bit different, but the key entities are still here. We see the alert comp totals, the store ID, and all it says it's greater than this value, which would have been your threshold on this date. Or you can do a custom message if you prefer. And we give you an example of one. You see that each of those line items has a little percent before and after it for the values. All right. So it would be the alert name, the store ID number, just like we saw in the comp, the line item value, and on down. All right. But if you want to create your own, you hit the little pencil over here, and what that does allows you to create your own message and the layout that you want it to be in based on keywords. All right, so I'm going to go up above here. I'm not going to delete that out of there. I'm going to put insert our text here. Okay, so we know where we began. And that's where you pick these keywords. So if I want the alert name first, all I do is click it and insert it, and it goes up into the box. All right, and then the store ID and insert it. And then basically you'll look here, you can do area name or date or employee ID, a lot of goodies here to create your own message. Now if you're going to create it, obviously you're going to delete everything out and create your own instead of leaving it in there like I did. All right, but as you create yours, after you're done creating it, we also offer you something called drill downs. And on drill downs, it allows you to put in some key information here. Again, you'll see hourly sales and category sales and deposits and payments and schedules and voids and things like that. So if this alert generates at a store, let's just say category sales, I insert it. Now that'll be, you'll see when that alert generates, that's a link that you can click on for whatever store the alert fired at and see the category sales for that store. So let's just do a couple of them. I'll do hourly sales as well. So there's my category sales and my hourly sales. All right. Now I'm going to click done. Now that's all there is to configuring your alert. Once you've got those 6 things configured, then you come down to the bottom here and save it. Okay. You can also test it if you want to see if it works. So we can test it. It says, and again, before it'll test it, it'll say, hey, they have to be saved. So we'll save it. And then basically, I've got the store is, let's put it at Fort Worth Downtown store here. The date's 1/27. Let's put that at the 20, let's see, what do we got here? Let's put it at January the 28th and test it. Okay, and what you see is it generated the alert for me so that I can see it. My gross sales over $2 for Fort Worth Downtown is $1,583.25 for this date, and this is greater than my predefined amount of $2. Okay, and then there's the regular thing. Here's our text that we put in, gross sales over $2, and then we've got the links for the category sales and the hourly sales. So you can test your alert to make sure that it works. All right, so we know that it works. I'm going to come back out here and I'm going to save it. Now, basically, we've got our gross sales over $2. I'm going to highlight it, run it now. And again, it'll come back and tell you that it will be sent to all the alert subscribers based on the next scheduled time if the alert condition has been met. I'm going to say OK. And now we can go to the alert viewer to see our alerts. All right, so if I go to the alert viewer, basically it just takes a second here to load. But when we get into the alert viewer, you'll see that it basically has the window here with all your alerts, and dependent upon what date you told it. Remember, I left it for 30 days, so we've got 30 days worth of information here, so that determines how big your window is as to what you've done. But if we look at the 28th, basically we can go into alerts. Here's a custom one with comps, and again there you'll see the little indicator and what the alert is. All right, but let's go find ours that we ran today. It would be in sales, and it's gross sales over $2. And again, I left it as kind of a warning, so there's our little yield sign. And again, you know, this is basically, if we slide across here, we'll see that it has all that stuff that we left there. Insert text here, you know, just like we put into the message. And now we've got the links, okay, for this store. Let's go back and find what store that is. That's our Omaha store. Now I have those links where I can go into category sales. So basically it takes me right into the drill down viewer to where I can see for my Omaha store the category sales. Or if I wanted to look at another store, basically let's do our Greek City store, second from the bottom there. If I want to do the hourly sales for my Greek City store, basically now here's Greek City with the hourly sales. All right, so those drill downs, depending upon what values you choose, we kept it kind of simple there with category sales and hourly sales, but those become links within your alert that you can click on and get the information you need. All right, so that is alerts. Again, it's basically set up with those 6 things. So let's go back here and edit this so you can see. With your general, your content, your schedule, your stores, your subscribers, and your message, whether you want to create your own or you want to let the system just do a long or short one. All right, so just kind of review of today. We saw the alert message when we first logged in. We saw that that was optional. We didn't have to have it pop up, but it is a nice little tool. Then we went into alert setup that we just came through with those 6 tabs, and each one of those needs to be configured. And then from there we ran it now so we could see our alert in the alert viewer. And also, while you're in the alert viewer, that is, I didn't show you that, but let me just come back here and we'll share my desktop again with you here so you can see that. In that alert viewer, basically if you go all the way to the bottom, you'll see that basically, well, let me get over to the alert viewer. I'm sorry, we're still in alert setup here. But if we go to the bottom of the alert viewer, you can clear those dates if you want to do it. You know, so we've got all those dates in here. So if I wanted to clear, let's say, the 27th, I pick up the 27th, and I clear it, I get a confirmation. Now if I go back up and look, our 27th is gone. We jumped from the 26th through the 28th. All right. You can also open these alerts and copy them or send them. So if you wanted to send them, basically it loads in those people in your group that you now can move over to the right to say, hey, I want the general manager to get this. Now the general manager, if I save that, it would send it to him so they could see those alerts. All right, so that basically is our webinar for today. We thank you for joining us, and y'all have a good day.